Altered Carbon is a series made by Netflix with its first season released in 2018. Follows the story of Takeshi Kovacs, who was a super soldier called an envoy, who awakes after 250 years to solve a murder. Overall, I really enjoyed the first season. I think it's one of the best examples of world building that I think I've seen. There's no previous installments it's a spin-off of. It's an adaptation of a book, but even then it's a bit loose in its adaptation. So you're thrust into this brand new world, but so is the main character. He's been under for 250 years. So whatever little exposition that you have is weaved seamlessly into the dialogue, especially in the first episode. With every science fiction series, there's the main technology that weaves itself into the story and the premise. And in this, it's a little hard drive almost that has saves the realm of consciousness. When your body, or as they call it, the sleeve, dies, they take the hard drive, which they call the stack, out. They can put it into a new body. Trouble is, in this new future, that the poor get whatever's left, regardless of age, race, gender, you put into this new body, and it's almost traumatizing. And Joel Kinnaman even said in an interview, in response to critique of it, whitewashing maybe an Asian character, is that, yeah, he's an Asian character, but he was non-consensually put into a white person's body. So for him, he is the victim in this situation. Joel Kinnaman as Takeshi Kovacs plays the role really, really well. Has equal amounts of intimidation, charisma, and a little bit of humour in as well. The murder he's sent to investigate is of what is called a meth, which isn't that kind of meth, but it's named after Methuselah, who was a biblical figure who was said to have lived 900 years. Where the poor have to get what's left over, the rich have first priority and can have whatever body they like. But in terms of murder and killing, damaging a stack is akin to property damage. What is called RD, or real death, is when the stack is damaged and they can't revive that person. Throughout the series you get all these beautiful shots of a dystopian world. Now, why do dystopian worlds have to look so good? Normally when you see dystopian worlds, they're always monochromatic and just sometimes can be a bit dull. But this has like a vibrant colour palette. Very, very beautiful to look at. Lighting and cinematography in this are fantastic. For me, a standout moment has to be where Kovacs is being interrogated in virtual, which is taking the consciousness from the stack and put into a simulation, where his body is made more sensitive, his bones are made more brittle, his reaction time is a lot slower, and he's tortured for information that he possibly doesn't have. But as part of his super soldier training back over 250 years ago, he is able to stop his own heart, and they bring him out of the simulation, starts it back up again, and just rips through and kills everyone there. It's ultimately a very, very good scene. We also have other sci-fi concepts that are built through that premise, like Ortega, the police officer who we see near the beginning. Turns out Kovacs' sleeve that he's in now was her boyfriend's, which leads to some dramatic tension. We see during the series celebrations of Day of the Dead, where Ortega brings her grandmother in probably a sleeve that probably isn't best appropriate. And near the end of the series we find out this is all done by Kovacs' sister, who wanted to bring him back and gain power for herself, and who is also a meth. What is important to note is that these meths were what the super soldiers that he was part of were fighting against. And his sister was there at the time, and Chris Falconer, who was his love interest back then, also appears in various hallucinations to help guide him. Now, they said that the envoy is supposed to have this great intuition which helps him with his fighting capabilities, and also it means he's a brutal killing machine. Now, although that he is a great fighter and probably a better fighter than almost everyone around him, there is tension in the fact that he really doesn't know the world he's in. And the envoys back in the day were trying to fight against this new technology of the stacks, from becoming something that only the rich had, which is exactly what happened. You have this big disparity between the very, very rich and everyone else, which as social commentary I think is very relevant. The overall design of the show looks more like a sequel to Blade Runner than Blade Runner 2049 does. Dense cityscapes and all the neon lights. It's a very violent and brutal show, but it does serve its premise that, yeah, you can damage the sleeve, but the realm of consciousness isn't harmed, so it's like, Overall, I think this is a great addition to the cyberpunk genre and would really recommend that anyone would watch this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.